This fragrance has a high hit rate when it comes to getting compliments. Hello guys and welcome back. I'm Max. Today I'm gonna give you 5 fragrances that have given me some insane compliments. And to top it off, I'm gonna give you a bonus fragrance that no matter how many times I wear it, it has a high success rate of giving me compliments. I'm gonna tell you what the compliments were and what fragrances gave me those said compliments. First fragrance on this list, I was going to my best friend's birthday party. Once we got to the party, the host of the party asked me what I had on, but that's not the insane compliment about it. We had a casino night set up where we had different tables set up. So once we finished playing casino, the ladies was inside laughing and dancing. The fellas was outside smoking cigars, and we had our favorite bourbons or whatever. This was kind of funny to me, but at the same time, it was like a compliment. So we was outside smoking a cigar, and this, I think it was a butterfly, a moth or something, kept hitting me. So this guy was like, they keep hitting you because you got on that ooze. Well, he meant to know oud, but a lot of people who's not into fragrances, you know, they don't really know what an oud note is. But I guess when a fragrance smells like kind of unique, they automatically assume that it's oud, but he said ooze. So, and then what was funny about it, he said, I guarantee you every butterfly that's hitting you are females. So we laughed about it, but at the same time, it was an insane compliment. And the fragrance I'm talking about is coming from the house of Xerjoff, and that's Elixir Oriental. Now, if you want a fragrance that want to get into that more traditional, skanky oud, but at the same time provide some elegance to it, this is the fragrance to get into. At the opening, you're gonna get this very nice, crisp green apple. You're gonna get the spices from basil. You're gonna get that frankincense that kind of making it kind of dark and smoky. Now, in the heart of the fragrance, that's when some of that rose come up. Now, this is not a rose-dominated fragrance, but it is there. It's very detectable. Then it topped off with an animalic oud, kind of skanky. You're gonna get this spicy amber, and the musk in the base is not really clean. It's kind of like a sharp musk, and you're also gonna get some hints of leather, making this fragrance spicy, woody, animalic, and kind of leathery. It has some sweetness to it, but if you want to get into your traditional oud that's kind of skanky, not safe, but at the same time blended very well, that make the composition make you smell kind of elegant, kind of sophisticated, from the house of Xerjoff, Elixir Oriental. Now this next fragrance up, we went to New Orleans, kind of early part of the year, and we went into this bar. Now if you're familiar with New Orleans, you know it's not, some areas are not pleasant. But I sprayed this fragrance on. I just did 2 sprays. So while I'm ordering drinks, the female bartender, she served me up. She didn't really say anything about me. After I finished that drink, went back to the bar and ordered another drink. This young female came up to the bar and she's like, one of y'all smell truly amazing. My homeboy, he had on Sauvage Elixir, and I was wearing this fragrance. So I put it up to her nose and she's like, yeah, that's you. Then the bartender was like, yeah, he smelled very amazing. Which surprised me because when I first went up there, she didn't have anything to say. But the fragrance that I was wearing is from the house of Montel, and it's amazing. Now you want to talk about a great everyday casual scent that can project a beast mode performer. And this fragrance features some notes in it that I really don't care about, but how it's combined and blended together makes it very lovely. So at the opening, which is fig, which I'm not a really fan of, you get this nice fig note. Also, you're gonna get this nice juicy orange that comes up. Bergamot plays a small part in it. Then you begin to get that Montel oud. Now, those of you familiar with Montel oud, a lot of their ouds don't smell authentic, but it's a certain type of oud that they use, and you can kind of detect it. After that, you get another note that I'm not too fond of, unless it's done right. That's that jasmine. Followed along with some green patchouli. Not really earthy, but it's green and kind of bright. Now, the base of this fragrance is bourbon vanilla and a white clean musk, leaving this fragrance sweet, fruity, floral, and some light woods in the background. Another stunning fragrance that I think is very unisex, but if you want something that can garnish compliments, project off your skin, you can find this very cheap, probably $70 to $80, and it's one I think you should get your hands on if you haven't smelled it yet. And that's Oud Amazing from the house of Montel. Now this next fragrance, I did a review on this fragrance, and normally when you see a fragrance that you're not familiar with, you don't click on it. And the video didn't get that many clicks, but I'm telling you right now, this is a fragrance that Although you haven't heard of, I promise you this is a lovely fragrance that will get you compliments. I wore it like back-to-back days. One time I was over my lady friend's house and she was like, come here, get closer. I'm like, what's up? She's like, because I want to smell your neck. So she sniffed my neck and she's like, yeah, I really love that. And needless to say, I think she wanted to take a walk on the wild side. But I ended up wearing this fragrance the next day at work, and I was having this conversation with this female, and we was talking about working overtime, and she just stopped me in the middle of my conversation. She's like, wow, you smell really good. So I kept talking, and then she interrupted me again. She was like, you smell so good. So she tried to guess the name of the fragrance, but I knew she wouldn't because it's a fragrance that very unique, and it's one that a lot of people are not going to know about. And the fragrance I'm talking about is coming from the house of Mason Lux, and that's Elixir. This is a very unisex fragrance, but guys and ladies, if you want to talk about a sweet cotton candy note that garners attention, this is it. Now, the opening of this, you're going to get this raspberry note. You're also going to get some other fruity notes, but the main note is raspberry, accompanied along with some leather. So you can imagine this being very fruity, very leathery. And no, it's not anything like Tuscan leather. I know I'm gonna get that in the comments, but no, this is a different type of fragrance. Then once it reaches that heart, that's when you get that very lovely, sweet cotton candy note, almost edible. You're gonna get some florals from Lily of the Valley. Patchouli comes up in the base, and the combination of frankincense and leather provides like a oud note that plays in the background, making this fragrance sweet, fruity, woody, and leathery. And that's coming from the house of Mason Lux, and that's Elixir. I think it's a sister company of Versace, one of the Middle Eastern fragrance houses, but I'm telling you, this is a very unique fragrance that's gonna get you a lot of compliments, and people gonna love how you smell wearing this fragrance. The next fragrance up is a fragrance I rarely wear, but every time I do, I get compliments. And when I put it on, I was meaning to look at the name of the fragrance, which is a very common name, but I forget the name of it. And something told me to remember the name of the fragrance because somebody gonna ask me what I was wearing. So once I reached work, I was selling a fragrance to this guy. And I'm like, do you really want this fragrance? If not, I'll sell it to somebody else. When I got up close to him, he like, man, what it is you got on? I said, I'm gonna have to look that up. Then he kept like, man, you gotta let me know what that fragrance is. And he asked me a third time. And so I finally looked it up for him. Sadly, I think it might be discontinued, but it's a designer house that smells so niche when you're wearing it. And the fragrance I'm talking about is from the House of Guerlain, Instant Pure Homme Extreme. Now, Star Anise starts this off. Element comes up, making it kind of resonance. You get a light touch of jasmine in the heart, and then when the magic becomes is once it reaches that base. You get that cacao that give it like a chocolate feel. You get an earthy patchouli combined with some cedar, making this fragrance earthy, sweet, spicy, gourmand. I'm telling you, if you like gourmands, that's spicy, very gentleman-like, very classy. And if you can get your hands on it, you can still find them floating around somewhere out there. I would definitely try to get my hands on this fragrance. And that is El Instinct from the House of Guerlain Pure Homme Extreme. One I'm quite sure all you will enjoy. Just think of like something like Balm New Harlem. You take away them pancake notes and add more spices, make it very spicy with that cacao note. They're giving it like a chocolate dessert feel. Then you can imagine what this fragrance smell like. But it's a very classic fragrance that I'm telling you is outstanding. This next fragrance up, I was actually riding around the warehouse. So this girl came up to me. She was coming in the same trailer that I was coming in. She said, I want to find out what you're wearing because it smelled very delicious. And the fragrance that I'm talking about is coming from the house of Salvatore Ferragamo. And I think it's more like that high class niche line. You can find it for around 80 bucks at the right place. And that is coming from the house of Salvatore Ferragamo. And that's the Comedia. First of all, just look at this bottle. Nice glass, thick bottom. Very lovely presentation. Fragrance that is very well worth getting into. Now, the opening, you're going to get this nice bitter orange accompanied by some bergamot. The bergamot gonna last a couple of seconds, then you're gonna get that cardamom note. The bitter orange fades a little bit, then that's when spices from nutmeg come up. The base you're left with leather, tonka, and amberwood. That in the combination give it like an earthy patchouli, making this fragrance sweet, woody, earthy, and spicy. Now it's been compared to Caramando, and they do have a lot of similarities. So if you're looking for that fragrance and it's a little bit too expensive for you, this is a nice alternative. I think where Caramando is more dry, this is more spicy and has a little bit more pop to it. So that's Salvatore Ferragamo La Comedia. Now coming up next, I'm telling you this fragrance has a success rate of probably 70%. So meaning if I wore it 10 times, I'm gonna get a compliment from it 7 out of 10 times. And this is the bonus fragrance. To me, it's like a compliment cheat sheet. You're guaranteed to get compliments if nothing else works. It's a little expensive, but I'm telling you, it's one you will enjoy. And that's coming from the House of Xerjoff, and that is 1888. And I received so many insane compliments wearing this. First of all, it's my lady favorite fragrance. And I remember one time we were going out to get something to eat, and this guy worked with me. He was at the same restaurant. So by the time I got out the car, I tried to scare him. So later on the next day, I asked him, did your girlfriend say I smelled good? And he's like, man, I'm telling you, I smelled you as soon as you got out the car. That same day, I wore it again, and I was getting compliments like, you smell like a king, and you smell like you got a lot of money. Carnation starts it off, and they're gonna give it like a clove note. So the spices are coming from carnation. You're gonna get spices from coriander. The note of ylang-ylang come up in the heart. So the combination of ylang-ylang and carnation is a killer combination. I'm telling you, making this whole fragrance smell very gentleman, very classic. Amber and patchouli comes up in the base, provides spiciness, making it earthy. You're gonna get some creaminess from that sandalwood. Now this fragrance is spicy, sweet, floral, and woody. Now you notice something about this list. Xerjoff was in 2 of the fragrances. I could have added many, many more. So if you want to watch my top 18 Xerjoff fragrances, click this link right here. Everybody stay safe. Come back and see me. I will see you soon. Peace.